Consumption is advised.
Here we go, Barflies. Welcome to the Barfly Tailgate Show. You already know it's done by Barflies for Barflies and all the other Bears fans out there. Chris, my brother, man, we running a little low on some people this morning, so I'm gonna be leaning on you to carry the conversation.
The pressure's all on you, mate. You're the host. I'm still a guest.
Well, we know it's the AC show, and I mean, if anybody in the chat would like to join us today, since we have an open slot, shoot me a message on Twitter or something at Aaron Current, and I'll send you a link, man. You guys can hop in, and we can chop it up a little bit about this ball game that we've got going on today. First and foremost, how was your week, Chris? What's going on, brother?
You know what my weeks are like, mate. Just the usual ducking and diving and surviving. So nothing outstanding, really, mate. But yeah, took me about a couple of days to get over the loss to the Lions. But I've moved on mentally now, which I think you have to do because that was so frustrating. But yeah, I'm good, mate. Always a joy to talk to my Southern gentleman friend, AC.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, we'll hop right in to talk about this Lions game. It was difficult. I didn't have it on live here. Honestly, lately I've been watching the Red Zone, NFL Red Zone, and it just does whip around coverage of whenever teams get in the red zone. But this Bears offense has been so good lately. I've actually seen quite a bit of the Bears games, you know. But it's been exciting. It sucks to lose to the Lions, but you kind of have to – it's easy to compartmentalize that by saying, well, we're getting a better draft pick. We knew this was a rebuild. We feel like we have our quarterback, which is the main thing. You know you don't have to draft a quarterback, so the higher draft pick you get, the better. It was just so difficult to watch. Offense, again, was fantastic. I loved it. Justin Fields looks like a bona fide superstar. I mean, I've told Scotty, we got ourselves a franchise quarterback, and I've never been able to say that. You know, it's difficult to get my son to buy into this team, you know, because they weren't exciting to watch. We didn't know what direction they were going. And there's a team an hour away from us in the Cincinnati Bengals that went to the Super Bowl last year. You know what I mean? So it's fun for me to try and get Scotty to buy into this team, and Justin Fields is definitely helping me along that way.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, he's sort of been our first bona fide superstar quarterback, or potential, should I say. That you know, we haven't had since, I don't know, Jim McMahon, or maybe Cutler when he first started. So, yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. I can get Scotty excited about the Bears, man, because, yeah, we haven't had much to sort of cheer about the last couple of years. I can imagine trying to get your son like involved in a team sport and a bit losing a lot must be quite parental work, mate. Well beyond my ability, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and there's some kids on his team, he's on the middle school team now. In Kentucky, we don't really have a team, so people just kind of almost pick teams. So he's got some kids on his
Mhm.
team that are Chiefs fans. You'll see them in their Mahomes jerseys and stuff. And as a Bears fan, the jerseys we had to buy was either retired guys, like Ditka or or
Mm.
Walter Payton. But it's fun to have to. I've got him he's going to get it for Christmas, but I've got a Justin Fields jersey on the way for him. He's got
Nice,
the T-shirt jersey, but I went ahead and ordered him the real deal, and that's on its
nice
way.
one.
So yeah, but I mean, the biggest issue for me with this team is the defense, and I'm not
Yeah,
even really down on the secondary. I feel like the secondary is
I'm not.
okay. Jalen Johnson obviously wasn't 100%. He was playing through an oblique injury, and when you've got a undrafted free agent former lacrosse player beating you on a route, your best corner is not at 100%, obviously.
Mm.
But my
I mean,
biggest issue, go ahead.
sorry, I say, sorry. I mean, the thing with me is what I've been thinking of the last couple of weeks, and like I was just listening to Mike and Aldo before us, and Mike sort of touched on it. I keep thinking if we hadn't got rid of them two players, then because you think about it, a lot of the damage what's been done to our defense is through the middle, and we haven't been getting. I know Quinn wasn't getting massive sack numbers, but even so, he would have got extra attention from the opposition's offensive line. I've just been having it made now for about 2 weeks going. Man, if them two players are playing with the amount of points our offense are putting up now, would we have won all them games? And like not just sort of by 3 points, by maybe a couple of touchdowns. So I agree with you, AC. I don't think it's the defensive back. It's because that heart, that defense. I know why we've done it, and I agree about the long-term prospects. But obviously, the here and now is that the heart of that defense really is sort of being taken out. Do you know what I mean? And I think that that's got to be the main reason why we're giving up so many points.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for me to say because Robert Quinn, even in Philadelphia on a stacked defense, he
Mm,
hasn't really done much. You know what I mean?
right.
Roquan Smith is a different story. I feel like that one hurts,
Mm,
because of what he brought off the field. He was a captain, he was a leader, but I mean, he wanted to get paid so much we weren't going to be able to pay him, especially if Fields continues to progress. He's going to want 50 million a year fully guaranteed because that's just what you pay quarterbacks now.
mm.
So where's all the money going to come from?
Yeah, but
Um,
you
and,
think about it, though.
and
Sorry,
Jack
Steve. What you?
Sanborn, you can't
Yeah.
sleep on Jack Sanborn. I think Tom Thayer last week called him the Jackhammer, and I love that nickname for that guy. 12 tackles, 2 sacks, and an interception that was taken off the board. That's an undrafted free agent giving you
Yeah.
those kind of quality snaps that you didn't expect from him. We
And
just
it's
kind of
and
go
isn't
ahead.
he isn't he a local kid as well? Isn't he like from the Chicago area or the Illinois area?
Yeah, he's from the Chicago area. Went to
Yeah, I thought it
Wisconsin.
was. Yeah.
Um, didn't test great, so that's why he went undrafted. But the guy's just got instincts, and
Mm.
he's not scared to get in there and get his hands dirty. I don't see him. He's worked his ass off to get to the position that he's at, and I couldn't be more happy. With him.
Oh,
But
I'm exactly the same, AC. And us English, we always like that. We always like supporting the underdogs. So it's always great to see like guy undrafted even get snaps, first team snaps on the field. You know what I mean? Let alone he might actually have a career. So yeah, I mean he played really well. I mean I think he's one of them instinctive sort of people as a player rather than like having the best physical talents. I think he's got that sort of football mind where that's why he did so well last week. So yeah, I mean if it works out, I mean that's a good pickup for the Bears.
yeah, he's definitely got great instincts out there,
Mm,
and plays faster than he ran at the combine. I think he ran like a 4.7, which is relatively slow for a linebacker, especially in
right.
today's NFL where you have to cover tight ends, you have to cover running backs out of the backfield and things of that sort. But I just I love his tenacity and his attitude. He came in with the attitude of I'm going to work my way in and I'm going to earn my spot. And he has.
Mm.
He's done all that. My biggest issue with the defense is up front. Justin
Oh yeah,
Jones has
man.
been okay, but I mean, when you see Jared Goff standing back there, like completely comfortable, never had to take off, never had to get moved off of his spot, those defensive linemen have got to get home. And that makes
Mm.
your secondary that much worse when the court. I mean, you can't cover anybody in this league for 4 or 5
Yeah.
seconds. You know what I'm saying? It's
And it's been, I
frustrating
mean,
because
it's,
go
I mean,
ahead.
it's been like, yeah, it's been like that all the season, hasn't it? Really, AC. We've never really had. I mean, I imagine if you looked at the sacks totals throughout that defensive front, I bet they're all in single figures. We've not really had a guy what's got 10 sacks already or 9 sacks or whatever. So I think really in the draft, that should be probably the first round pick for me. Would be a really big interior free tech defensive lineman because the middle of our defense is just vanilla, man. It's just so soft.
Well, it's funny you should say that, Chris, because I went and watched Kentucky play Georgia yesterday,
You
um,
did.
and they've got a big three technique named Jalen Carter, who I am
Mm.
quickly falling in love with. But I'm hoping he falls to us. The Eagles have the
Uh,
Saints draft pick,
right.
and he was, they're probably going to look for him too. So
Hmm.
it would be you'd have to see if he falls to you. Now he didn't have a. I haven't looked up his stats or his box score from yesterday. He didn't have a great game. I don't know if it was the cold. If it was the cold, then that's something to worry about in
Mm.
Chicago. He plays in Georgia. They usually play in warm weather, even when it's
Hmm.
quote unquote cold down there. It's going to be warm compared to Chicago or even Kentucky. But that's a guy that I'm quickly falling in love with.
Right.
Or maybe a Will Anderson from Alabama, who, I mean, he's got the stats to go first overall, but depending on how the quarterbacks fall, and luckily we
Hmm.
don't need one. So
Well,
that's
that's good
something to
though, isn't it?
look
Really. I mean, that's like giving yourself nearly like an extra first round pick.
right,
Because
right.
that's because that's what most teams usually use, isn't it? Really, if they're struggling in the first top sort of 10 of the picks. But yeah, I mean, whereabouts do you reckon we're going to end up in the first round? Do you reckon it'd be what are we? Are we about sixth or fifth at the moment?
I think we're sixth right now.
Right.
Looking at my schedule, honestly, to, today's a possible win, and then if Green Bay continues to fall apart, you might be able to get that win. But there's not a ton of wins left on the schedule. I feel like we could pick in the top five, which
Right. So
it
what would
sucks for
what
us
record
during
would
the
that be then?
season.
What record would that be then? Would that be like what 13 losses and 4 wins?
Um, ah, yeah, if we win
Because that's
today,
only
and then
one
we
more. That's only one more win, isn't it? Really? Because we've got three at the moment, so we'll be losing. Yeah, we'll be losing throughout the season, apart from hopefully today.
right. I mean, if we
I think.
win today and we win at Green Bay, then you're looking at
Mm,
5 wins. Um,
yeah,
but
5 and
but
12.
it just depends on what happens around us. I mean, the Raiders aren't living up to their
No.
position. Like I said, the Saints, they're not doing well, but the Eagles have their pick. That's my biggest concern is what the
Hmm.
Eagles are going to do with that top pick because they don't need a quarterback either, and I don't really think they need a receiver or O line. So they're going to look at D line probably
Mm-hmm.
or a lockdown defender somewhere on their defense.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan comes in and says that Levis disappointed him yesterday. I know the Cats should and would lose, but I expected Levis to do more even with nothing around him. Hell, Chris Rodriguez was playing. Chris Rodriguez has been playing his ass off. Will Levis, he's been. They've told us, they don't tell you a ton about injuries, but they've told us that he's been dealing with a turf toe really since the Ole Miss game. So the big plays he was able to do last year where he would take off and run for 20, 25 yards, he's not able to do this year. The things that made people fall in love with him and compare him to a Josh Allen were those types of runs, and he has a cannon for an arm. that him playing through injury, along with our new offensive coordinator, who I'm not a big fan of, Rick Scangarello. We grabbed him from the San Francisco 49ers he was a quarterbacks coach there, and he just, I don't know. I told you this before I got on here, and I don't want to get on a big soapbox about my Kentucky Wildcats, but if you look at the skill positions, you got Will Levis, who's the best quarterback we've had since Tim Couch, who went first overall. You got Chris Rodriguez, who's the second or third best running back we've ever had. You have a group of talented wide receivers between Dane Key, who's a true freshman, who has the freshman record for touchdowns at Kentucky now. Barian Brown, who went off last night for 10 catches, 145 yards, and a touchdown. He's a true freshman as well. We brought in Tavion Robinson to play the slot from Virginia Tech, and he's played pretty well. I mean, he's not really happy with the offensive play calling either. But for whatever reason, our offensive coordinator just can't figure out how to move the ball. And I don't know if it's O-line issues. Like I said, we were replacing 3 guys to the NFL this year, so that's difficult at Kentucky. It's not like Georgia or Alabama where you just plug in another 5-star and you're good to go. But I feel like a lot of that has to do with my Kentucky Wildcats having issues. But I know nobody came in here to listen to me rant about Kentucky. So I just had to get that off my chest.
Ruther, you know what? You know I'm a fellow Wildcat mate, so you know you can go on for half the show if you wanted to, mate. But yeah, I agree with what you were saying, man. I think a lot of it's down to the quarterback being injured as well, especially when it's your anything to do like your feet when you got to push off if you got pain in a turf, like if it's got turf. So yeah, what a miserable couple of weeks you've had with results. AC last week it were the Wildcats and the Bears got beat, and now the Wildcats are lost again. So hopefully the Bears will break this.
Not only did both my teams lose last week, they both lost the exact same way. Kentucky intercepted a pass from Vanderbilt. There was a hands to the face call away from the ball that pulled the interception off the board, and then I watched the same thing happen on Sunday, which we'll go ahead and before we move off of. I mean, unless there's something that you desperately want to talk about with the Lions, we'll move off of that after I hit this.
Piss off, you grotty little wanker!
Shut up, you soppy wanker!
Wanker!
You're a wanker!
Wanker!
Stop being a wanker.
You are a wanker, Andy Marr. And I'll be honest, I didn't know that was coming, but I'll say it again, you are a wanker.
This is Chris Watts's Wanker of the Week.
Oh, I love that intro. Aldo, you did great with that. So, in case you've been living under a rock or this is your first time joining our show, Chris Watts goes over his Wanker of the Week every week and tells us who screwed up this week.
Yeah. Well, AC, there's 2 Wankers of the week, and it's a 2-group effort. First one is the defense of the second half. All them penalties completely stopped any momentum we might as well have got, and that really was quite surprising. Like, you know, one sort of aspect of his team has been about, not giving a lot of penalty away, and playing in the rules. So that sort of cost us. But I'll have to say the main wankers are the referees again. For fuck's sake, man. I mean, I'm not one of these people who sort of blames a ref, for the game, but it feels like somebody's put some sort of referee voodoo sort of curse on the Bears at the moment. We aren't just getting the rub of the green. So, the refs, man, you get paid all that money, and you're only doing it part-time as well, which is, some of what should be debated really with the NFL, where you've got these crucial decisions being made, and we're not able to buy full-time staff. So, the referees, mate, wankers.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I always say that I don't like to be that guy that blames the refs, but I seem to do it quite a bit for someone who doesn't like to do it.
You know what that is, AC. That's because you're getting a little bit older.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what happens, mate. The older you get, the older I've got, the more I start shouting at the TV set. You know, if you watch like a news program or any sort of shit, the older I'm getting, the more I start shouting at the TV set. So you're starting that quest to middle age, mate, when you start blaming the referees all the time.
Well, I mean, it's difficult when you get a game
I
stealing
know,
interception.
it's weird, isn't it? So
and they
weird.
call hands to the face on Jalen Johnson. That wasn't hands to the face; it was hands to the chest. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a killer freaking penalty that really killed the game. And on top of that, I go on Facebook. I think the next day my memories will pop up and say what you were talking about a year ago. A year ago before that was the Pittsburgh Steelers game where the refs screwed us with the taunting call. And I was like,
man,
wow, same shit, different year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Which is sort of worrying, isn't it, really? But I feel like if you like a team with a losing record, you don't seem to get the calls from the refs. It always seems to go with the teams who, are like outright sort of, better than the team they're playing. So I don't know if it's a subconscious thing, but my God, these last 2 weeks the referees have so pissed me off. Me off.
Yeah, it's been rough to watch, but they're helping our draft pick, I guess. That's the only way I know,
but I understand the AC, but it's just so negative. It's like there's still some games left of the season. I feel like I can't just sort of like go, oh well, the season's done and dusted. We've got to start thinking about what's going to happen in the draft in April. So I can't think of a draft yet, mate. I know you've probably done about 200 mock drafts by now anyway.
Actually, every time I get on the Draft Network's website, they keep saying that the
fuck off AC, fuck off.
That the draft simulator is under construction or something. Like, I don't know, they're still doing their scouting and stuff on their big boards or something. I don't know.
Right.
I think PFF or PFT, one of those two, they've got a mock draft simulator, and I may have ran a couple of them, but
don't lie. Yeah, I know you have, mate. I know you have.
Hey, I'm a draft nerd, man. So that's it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, the wankers of the week definitely, and they'll go hand in hand. The defense with their penalties. Not all of them were actual penalties, so that points directly to the referees, and. It just really sucks when you have winnable games on your schedule and this team's margin for error is razor thin. You can't have stuff like that happen. So that's going to be a tough one. But we'll get into this game today. Chicago Bears travel down to Atlanta, home state of Justin Fields. And a lot of Falcons fans, they've got Kyle Pitts sitting there not doing much, and Justin Fields is a guy they passed on in that exact same draft. And he was a hometown kid that a lot of people liked. So, I mean, this could be a big deal for Atlanta Falcons fans, and see how the Bears do, because honestly, like I said about our talent level, there's not a ton of winnable games left on the schedule, so you've got to take advantage of ones that you can win. What's give me 3 big things that you're looking for today from the Bears or the Falcons, and then I'll comment and I'll follow up with mine.
Cool. I think firstly, I think the Falcons are going to try and run a lot. Their offense is quite run based. And that without, sort of easy middle of the field, that's where, a lot of the ground we grew up is down the center of the field. So I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to really push on the run. I think Fields is going to go back and have a massive big homecoming game. I think he's just going to. I'm just hoping he's just going to continue with what he's, how he's been progressing, really. And it's just to me, it's just more with which team outscores the other team, because I don't think both teams' defenses are up to high standard at the moment. So I think it could be another shootout, but I do think Atlanta are going to try and get their run game going first.
Yeah. It's. I'll start with the first one. You said that Atlanta Falcons running the ball. Cordero Patterson's went down there, and they've molded their offense around him running the ball. And he's not just a quick guy. He's a guy that will run through you if he has to. I saw it last week. Or maybe it was the week before. I don't remember if they were on a bye. I think they were on bye, or maybe a mini bye. Anyway, they definitely and they don't only use Cordero. They've got another running back named Algier that they use quite a bit, and even a Caleb Huntley, who's their third string running back, but he still gets reps even. And then on top of that, they're letting Marcus Mariota run a little bit. I don't know if Mariota is going to stay in. If they were going to move to Desmond Ridder, their rookie quarterback that they drafted this year, I feel like this would be the week for them to do it because they're coming off of, I can't remember if it was a bye or a mini bye, if they played Thursday or were off.
Yeah, I think they played Thursday against Carolina.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. So, they had 10 days to try and get a rookie quarterback in there, but I don't know if I haven't heard one way or the other.
I'd have to say though with Atlanta, they have beaten some good teams. I mean, they've beaten the 49ers. I know we did at the start of the season, but that was just sort of like a chance of God and all the factors of playing in them conditions. But so they have actually beat like some quality teams, and their division as well. It's quite a soft division, so they were probably still thinking that we're still in for the chance of winning their division outright.
Yeah. Well, Renew Rechargeable Review says he wants to see what the Jackhammer Sanborn does. I love that nickname. I think Tom Thayer gave him that last week. Yeah, if you're going to stop the run or have a chance to stop the run, first it starts with your D-line holding up their blocks. But the guys behind that, the linebackers, have to fill those holes, fill those gaps, and meet those guys and make the tackles. Not just get ran over by these guys. And I think Jack Sanborn is he's kind of becoming a local favorite. And I don't know how you guys follow it over in England, but maybe an international favorite. Just the way he plays. Again, I feel like I'm glowing every time I talk about this guy. I loved Roquan. As I said earlier this year, I was looking to buy his jersey, but this is a town for linebackers, man. And if you're a good linebacker who's a hard-nosed kid, and just like you said, pulling for the underdog, this is a hard-nosed kid. Pack your lunch to work every day. You know what I'm saying? That kind of kid. That's the kind of guy that Chicago Bears fans will get behind. And I definitely that'll be something I'm definitely looking for.
Yeah, he's sort of like got like that bit of like Mike Dichter sort of like mystique about him. You know what I mean? Sort of like your old school gritty, Dick Butkus. I'm going to kick your ass and spit in your face once I've kicked you in the ass sort of guy. You know what I mean? So I just like an underdog. As I said before, us English, we love the underdog story. So as long as he plays well, mate. I'm not up for like just giving it to a guy because he came from Chicago. But what he's done in the last two games has been really good. I'm happy for the kid.
Yeah. So Cheesy says I bought his jersey last year. Angry face. I'm assuming he's talking about Roquan. Sorry, Matt. Man, I've got plenty of jerseys that are hanging in my closet that I can't wear anymore.
Sorry, AC. So once the player leaves the team, do you just not wear their shirt anymore? Is that it then? Put in the closet and filed away?
It depends. Sometimes I'll dig them out, but I've got like a Alshon Jeffrey jersey that I don't wear anymore, or Brandon Marshall jersey that I don't wear anymore. I've got a Trubisky jersey that I wish I could find a way to put Claypool on the back now, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's tough for Bears fans. That's why I think Aldo has said on here before that he just kind of goes after the retired players.
I'm like that. Yeah.
Walter. And,
But yeah, I mean, I just keep thinking I won't mind going like trying to find like really obscure Bears players jerseys and start buying, because I imagine it'd be like really cheap secondhand on eBay and try and find the most sort of like, strangest or a player what did absolutely fuck all's jersey. So I think I might start doing that after Christmas.
Yeah. Forcheesy says he's scared to buy a Brisker jersey. I already bought one. It's that one's in the closet. So I needed a new blue one. So I went ahead and got the Brisker. And the way I see it, he's on his rookie deal. So you got at least 4 years. So you got at least 4 years out of that jersey, or 3.5 if they decide not to re-sign him and trade him or whatever they do. But yeah,
it's
a tough game.
Sorry, SC. Sorry, SC. Go on, SC. I'm just going to say that, man. He's been. AC, you go first, mate, please.
It's a tough game to play, to try and find someone who you think is going to be a long-term guy. The only one I feel that is safe right now is the guy we've been talking about for most of the show, Justin Fields. I mean, if you get a Fields jersey, that's going to be good for a while, as we say down here.
A while, I like that, man. It's a bit like while. We just say while, but there you go. But yeah, man. Yeah, I might try and go for like really obscure Bears players from the past. See what I can get hold of. But I think Brisker's played really well this year. I think obviously he's had his sort of rookie moments, but it does bring the thunder. But I still would like to see him wrap up more when he's tackling instead of just always doing it, with a big shoulder hit. Especially when you have the impact, you do usually get a bit of a bounce off as well. So, but then again, I think the tackling in the NFL in general is pretty poor sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly that is, if it's a difference between their training, because, they don't really tackle in practice anymore or anything like that. They are obviously taught to wrap up, but so many times, especially if you're a big dude like Brisker, he's probably gotten away with it since he was in high school, just throwing a shoulder at somebody and they'll go down, So it's tough to fight that muscle memory of I'll just throw a good shoulder at someone and they'll go down. I've already gotten off on a tangent. I forgot where I was going.
I mean, sorry, mate. I usually do that in a conversation, but I mean, the thing is, these dudes are going to be bigger than him because he's in the NFL. You know what I mean? So it's like you said, what you could do when you like a far superior athlete to everybody else in high school. You can't do it in the NFL, man. And it's such a I don't know. I think because they don't do enough in training camp, they don't do enough contact really. They should still do the Oklahoma drill. That's how old school I am, mate. Oklahoma drill until you start bleeding, man. Come on, let's get going.
Yeah, that Oklahoma drill, we used to say that it'll make a lot of basketball players.
You do, you're right, because I can remember the first time I ever did the Oklahoma drill. When I started playing, I was 14, but I was playing against 19-year-olds because that would the age of the league from 14 to 19. So I remember first doing the first Oklahoma drill, and I was absolutely shitting it, mate. I'm telling you, and I got absolutely creamed. But the main thing is that I got up, showed that I didn't get creamed, and you just keep going, don't you? But it definitely gets used to the contact and all that of the game. You know what I mean? I think they need to do a little bit more contact drills, back in training camp. Not to a ridiculously stupid amount, but some of the tackling's farcical, really.
Yeah, I think they just try and balance that between injuries and the amount of money they're paying these players.
Yeah, of course,
especially like a quarter. I mean, typically the quarterback didn't do the Oklahoma drill. I was a linebacker, so I loved it. That was one of my favorite drills. But even the linebackers are making big money now. Defensive ends, guys like that. If someone found out, they were out there doing an Oklahoma drill and they end up with a concussion, they're out for a month, then they're damn, we $20 million sitting on the bench.
Yeah, that would have been cool, man, because I played running back, so me and you would have been natural enemies on the field, especially in that drill as well.
Yeah. They put me at outside backer, but I wasn't very good at covering the tight end because I'm only 5'8". I mean, I'm
5'8", mate.
Yeah. But I love the contact. I live for that shit. But what was I talking about? Oh my God. So you were talking about what you wanted to see today, and you talked about Atlanta running the ball. I touched on that. You said Justin Fields, you want to see him continue to do well. I want to see him continue to do well. And I love that he's running. I love that he is setting records running the ball. But I want to see a little more passing. I mean, we went and traded for Chase Claypool. You're able to get some coverage off Darnell Mooney, and he's been able to make some catches. And Justin, and all of a sudden, Cole Kmet, dude. The last time I was on here, I said I don't think Cole Kmet's it, and now the guy looks like freaking Mark Andrews out there, just doing it all. So I don't know. Maybe I should talk down about some of our other players, and they'll be like, "Okay, see, let me show you what I got."
Anything what could help the cause, mate, do it. It's sort of like it's like having them ridiculous superstitions what you do before a game or whatever. You know what I mean? So no, if it helps, mate, do it because we did. I mean, on the defense, you need it's just so weird that. Seeing that many points scored against the Bears defense, it feels like we're in an upside down world with our offense being such a high scoring offense now. But I mean, I like the design run for Fields because I think at least he can protect himself when he's actually having a design run rather than being in the pocket. But I mean that interception, what he threw last week, was absolutely terrible. Really, it was such a floater. I mean, I'd have just thrown it out of bounds, really, in that situation, rather than just loft how he did it. But and I like dirt. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'd like to see him get rid of the ball a bit quicker. But I just think that's a lot down to his wide receivers not getting separation quick enough.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I do like what I've seen out of Fields of being able to get out of bounds, not get hit, those type of things, because that's a lot of what you worry about with, like, when RG3 had a crazy rookie season, or when you see Lamar Jackson doing type things like that. They're really good about getting out of bounds and conserving their body. But I worry about him getting tired legs and things like that. He said his legs were heavy this week, so maybe we'll see a bit more passing this week. If there's a defense to take advantage of, it's this one. Atlanta's not very good.
Yeah.
I know neither are we, but Atlanta's offense has kind of been up and down. I mean, there's games where they look incredible, and then there's games where they put up like 15 points against. I think they put up 15 against Carolina in their last game.
Well, I think that. Sorry, AC. I think Atlanta are sort of in a slightly sort of similar situation to the Bears because obviously they got rid of Matt Ryan, who'd been there for like 14 years, and also Julio Jones, so like a big star, and he had a big salary. So I think their offense were always going to take a little bit of a back step with them people left. I mean, I'm not surprised Matt Ryan left anyway because I know Atlanta were trying to get Deshaun Watson in, wasn't they? So I think that sort of pissed him off, which it would do really because of all what's been going on. So I think that's why their offense really sort of struggled a little bit like ours.
Yeah, I agree. Matt Ryan was definitely not happy that they went after Deshaun Watson, and I feel like Matt Ryan. I mean, he hasn't been great this year either. They traded him to the Colts.
He got benched the other week.
Yeah, they traded him to the Colts and got a draft pick out of him. And speaking of the Colts, I mean, Jeff Saturday out there coaching. He's 1-0. Never coached a day in his life, and he's out there winning ball games, which is crazy to see.
What does that say there?
I think it kind of says, like John Fox famously said it when he was here. I'm not the offensive coordinator, not the defensive coordinator, not the special teams coordinator, but I coordinate all three. You allow your coordinators to run their thing. Pete Carroll does this as well in Seattle. You allow your coordinators to do their thing. Not only does that improve your coaching tree and get those coaches ready for head coaching gigs when they're ready for it, and you're a locker room guy who keeps everyone in line and kind of runs the whole deal, sort of CEO. I think Matt Eberflus even said that was his plan when he came here. He's just the CEO. He's going to let Alan Williams run his defense. He's going to let Getsy run his offense. Getsy's name's popping up in head coaching searches already, which, man,
ridiculous.
That's
ridiculous.
I want more than 1 year of this. You know what I'm saying? It's really.
Sorry, AC. if I were Getsy, I know the temptation would be so hard to sort of turn down being an head coach. But I don't even think, yeah, but if Rodney just started at the Bears, so if I can prove that I can win a Super Bowl in a year's time, say give it another year or 2 years, then obviously my stock's going to have risen quite highly. I mean, I think it's ridiculous that people are even talking about it, really. He's only been on OC for less than a full season. It seems ridiculous.
Well, I think the Justin Fields getting so much better under his tutelage is going a long way with people saying, well, we'll bring him in and we have this quarterback who hasn't looked great, but maybe if Getsy can get Fields to look really good after Nagy couldn't do shit, maybe he can do something with our guy as well. I feel like that's the way they're doing it, but a lot of Fields' ability is just God-given ability. The guy runs a 4.4 and he's 6'3", and he talked about playing on the turf this week. He loves playing on the turf. He's always played on turf, which is great. He even says he's a little bit faster on the turf. So,
yeah. When he scored that touchdown, I mean, he completely floored their linebacker, didn't he? I think he actually knocked him out of the game.
I think the guy had a concussion or something.
Yeah, I think he went off. Yeah, that's what he went off with. So, I mean, like you say, I mean, he's got all the. I mean, that cannot be just like being hit with a bowling ball, because he's such a specimen of an athlete. I mean, that's something about Fields. I mean, he must take care of himself so well and train so hard to be that. I know you have your given talents, but I mean, he must train his ass off to be like that. But I mean, I think about Getz as well. I mean, like a lot of Fields' big players have been sort of, his natural talent. I've been a so-called design player. It's like a lot of his runs. It's like because he's had to scramble. So I think. I want Getz obviously to improve, but I think as an head coach, I think even if I were Getz, I'm thinking that might be a little bit too soon.
Yeah, I can agree with that. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure he'll get interviews and stuff, but I think he got interviews last year before eventually coming to be our OC. Like Denver ends up with Nathaniel Hackett, which that could help us out of keeping him because Nathaniel Hackett's not doing anything in Denver. So maybe people will look at that and say, yeah, let's let Getsy just season a little bit more before we call him in.
I mean, I'm not a person. I'm not really into all these coaching trees of success because you think about all the coaches who have coached underneath Belichick. They've all done absolutely terrible when they become head coaches. The majority of them, aren't they? Look what's happening in Las Vegas now. The guy what went to Detroit, who always has a pencil behind his ear, and I don't know why he thinks that looks cool, but that's what he does. And so I mean, that them coaches haven't really sort of had the success. I mean, I suppose a lot of from the Chiefs head coach, a lot of these sort of underlings have had success, like the guy who coached Philadelphia to their Super Bowl. So I'm not really a massive believer because their coaches is that's him, isn't it? Really, I don't think he can't really rectify that. I don't think it's quite an individual thing, but no, I hope he stays, mate. I hope him, Pauls, and their coach Eberflus have got like a 3 or 4 year plan and saying this is what we're going to do, and then hopefully it all works.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at coaching trees, my biggest one is the Shanahan coaching tree, who really he learned from his dad, Mike Shanahan. He trained him, McVay, and LaFleur, who have gone on to learn how to train these coaches to eventually be head coaches. And Luke Getsy is a distant branch off of that tree, but you're seeing it all over the league. Kevin O'Connell up in Minnesota, what a freaking game they had last week. Did you watch that game?
Yeah, I saw the 40 minutes. Yeah, it were a really good game. It must be such a. I know as Bear fans have it hard, but fucking hell, man. To be a Browns fan, it must be the hardest thing in the world to keep following that team because at one point they didn't even have a Browns team for a few years until they got reinstated. So I know we have it bad and we like to have a bit of a murmur, but I'm so glad I'm not a Cleveland Browns fan because that is must be such a hard franchise to follow.
Well, I mean, after going up there last year and watching Justin Fields get creamed and getting heckled from their fan base, I have no remorse for the Cleveland Browns at all. I mean, I was up there with my brand new Justin Fields jersey. There's a guy probably 3 rows behind us. I went up there with KB. His cousin played for the Browns at the time, so he got us tickets, which was awesome. Shout out to Andrew Billings, who is now a Las Vegas Raider. But the guy a few rows behind us was like, boy, Justin Fields is sucking. Justin Fields is having a rough go. It's got to be tough to be a Justin Fields fan. And I'm like, if there's any fan base you would think would have empathy for not being able to have a great quarterback playing great all the time, it would be the Browns. I mean, just talked about Tim Couch earlier. You know, he was the first round, their number 1 overall pick, and they didn't put anything around him, which ended up getting him hurt. But yeah, I have no empathy whatsoever for the Cleveland Browns or their fan base after that game. Maybe I'm an asshole. I don't know, but
You've always been an arsehole as long as I've known you. I'm only joking, mate. I'm only joking. Hey, if that had been a soccer game over in this country, mate, people would have just been fighting. There wouldn't have even been any rationale. It would have just been, that's why they separate them, have them separate the each team's supporters are in different sections because they'll just beat the crap out of each other. So you're looking at an English soccer game.
Yeah, I just kind of ignored him, and I wasn't gonna end up in jail in Cleveland for getting in a fight at a football game.
That sounds like a sort of an indie American film, doesn't it? Locked up in Cleveland after an NFL game.
yeah. I feel like I couldn't think of a much worse place than that in America.
Hello, Cleveland.
Yeah, there was news this week. Khalil Herbert landed on IR, and I have heard that they are trying to work with Velus Jones to maybe move him into the backfield. Are you concerned about Khalil Herbert? He was having some good runs and making some good plays. As far as I love David Montgomery and I love Justin Fields when they run the ball, but Khalil Herbert was really like the lightning to David Montgomery's thunder. Do you feel like that affects our offense, or do you think we'll be okay without him?
I think it's going to affect our offense quite a lot because David Montgomery always gets hard yards, which is one of the great things about him as a running back. But God, I've completely forgot his name now. The other one who we were talking about a brain freeze. Help me out, AC.
Are you talking Herbert, or are you talking?
Yeah, Herbert. Sorry, yeah. No, Herbert. He's sort of like he's like the pace guy, and they always remind me a little bit of what Cleveland have. Sorry to bring Cleveland back up again, AC. I didn't realize he had some hatred for the place, but how their running backs complement each other. I think it'll be a big difference because the rookie Ebner hasn't really done much, has he? Really. He hasn't really. He hasn't really had the opportunity really to get have a few 3 or 4 runs on a series. So, but yeah, Velus Jones, man. I mean, as long as he hands it off to the guy, and even if he don't do if they're doing a sweep, he don't have to pitch to the guy. Then I don't mind him being in the backfield. But what's he going to do? It's just going to be like a gadget play. It really, it's not something really what I think. I don't think he could be in the backfield as a consistent running back anyway.
I don't know. I mean, we're playing Atlanta today, and Cordero Patterson came into the NFL as a punt returner, wide receiver, sort of Swiss Army knife kind of guy, and they've really molded him into being their star running back. So
yeah, but I think a lot of that's due to his physique, doesn't it, as well? Because he's such a big guy and so fast. Where Velus Jones is probably our height here. Really, he's quite a small speedster. So I can see where you're coming from, AC.
Yeah, I think Velus Jones is like 6 foot, so he's got.
Oh, is he? All right, cool.
Yeah, but he has issues catching the ball, so hand it off to him. Maybe he can do something. He's got speed. We saw it, while he was on the field. I don't know. That's just, and as far as Ebner goes, the guy they drafted, he's been okay, but I feel like maybe some more time in the NFL, more time in this system, and he can build his ball carrier vision. I think he struggles with vision, finding the hole, hitting it, not dancing around and stuff like that. I mean, maybe he turns into something. I really don't know, but I don't have extremely high hopes for Ebner because I just haven't seen it.
I haven't. I mean, what about we still got a fullback on the team? We still got a fullback out there. I wouldn't mind just give the fullback a bit of a blast up the middle and see if that does anything. Just for the change. Because I remember seeing some highlights when they traded for him. I mean, he's got a few good steps in him as well. So I won't mind just seeing what happens if they put him in for a few plays.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. And another thing that they brought up, I was listening to 670 The Score after our Dolphins loss, and the big play in that game. Not only the refs screw us that one as well, but they blocked a punt for a touchdown, and they had Herbert in on that, and he wasn't able to hold his block. They talked about putting David Montgomery back there, but I mean, just like you said, we got a fullback standing there. That's his job, is to block. Why would you put him on punt team? I don't know if he's already in there at a different position or what, but PZ brings up a good point here. Can Velas or Ebner block? I really have no idea.
Yeah, I was just going to say. I mean that's so good. That's one of the parts of Herbert's game. What's got to improve is his pass blocking. It's terrible. I mean, I used to coach running backs, and when I used to play as well, I used to love blocking linebackers coming through. God, me and you, AC, would had a right game against each other. You flying through on the outside, I'll cut block you.
You can't cut block in the league now; it's a penalty.
But it wasn't back in my day, man.
Back in my day.
Not back in my day, boy. Not back in the 80s, mate. You could more or less do anything you want. It was great. But I mean, the pass blocking on Herbert really's got to improve. He don't get his base low enough, and he puts his head down a little bit too quickly, so he loses sight of the defender what's coming towards him. But it's just a shame really, because they just give a good bounce to each other, don't they, the running backs what we have.
Yeah. I mean, what that might help though is Montgomery's contract's up at the end of the year. If he's our best blocking back and he still gets those tough yards, it could work out for him to get an extension. I feel like he loves the city of Chicago.
Yeah,
he went about it the correct way. I hate to bring up Roquan again, but the way he came into the season with his contract on the line, he was like, well, I'm not going to practice. I'm not going to play until something gets worked out in this. And David Montgomery just showed up to work. He packed his lunch and showed up to work, and he's earning it. I don't know if he has a C on his chest yet, but he should. I feel like he is a captain on this team, at least in spirit. HR does have a interesting question. Does Alan Williams retain his job next year with more talent on D, or do you feel like they should? Is he a one and done coach? I feel like he should have more of a. I'll answer and then I'll let you answer.
Yeah,
I feel like he should have more of a chance to prove himself with more talent on that defense. We talked about he can't make these defensive linemen get off their blocks. I heard a stat this week that the Chicago Bears have the 32nd rated pass rush. Like the distance between them and a quarterback is the highest in the entire league. They can't get to the quarterback. They can't. And even with it, like I said, a guy like Jared Goff, who literally just stands back there, he's not mobile, but our guys just aren't getting off blocks. I'm really disappointed in Trevis Gibson. I thought he would step up in this role. Dominic Robinson, 5th round rookie. So he's still got a lot to learn. Even when Robert Quinn was there, he wasn't getting toward him either. Justin Jones is really the only guy that I'm able to point at occasionally that is able to get off his block or get in the backfield and do anything. And if you got one guy out of 4, it's not a good thing. What do you think?
I think he's going to be around for another season at least because he's like one of the Eberfluss's guys from the Colts what came over with him. So I've just got a feeling that he will be here for another season. I sometimes just think that he doesn't sort of adjust quick enough throughout the game. We always seem like something happened in the first quarter, but they don't seem to really adjust about until after the half time, which is really annoying. And I just don't know if his scheme fits some of the players what we've got at the moment, i.e. the front seven really. But it's like what we've been saying a lot regarding the defense. If you don't get pressure at the front, especially in that scheme, if you don't get the pressure from the front four, then because you're not really blitzing that very often, then I think that's why teams have been running up and down on us and getting a lot of passing yards as well. The defensive backs can only do so much. They do need help from the front four especially. So I think he'll be here for another year. I definitely do, but it's just like it's like, is it down to the players who've lost, i.e. Roquan? Even you could even put Mack into that if you wanted to still. If we had Mack and all that, and then we had Recon as well. So you think if like you said, if he's got, should we give him the chance of better talent? Hopefully, we might get next year.
Yeah, it'll be up to Poles to fill up his defense with great players that can run the scheme and play hard and do all the things that you have to do. I know they don't like blitzing, but sometimes you just got to blitz to get. If you're not getting pressure with your front four, you got to blitz. Sometimes you'll get burned on that, but I don't know if they still run it. But back in the day, the Steelers used to run a blitz zone scheme that I really loved. You get your linebackers coming in. Sometimes you'd have defensive ends dropping out in the flats and stuff like that. Really confusing to a quarterback to know who's coming and who's not coming. And you're running zone behind that, which helps your defensive backs because they're covering a space rather than having to stay on a particular player. I don't know if that's something they may be able to adjust to in the future, or if they're just going to stick with the game plan and improve talent. We have the most cap space in the league next year, and we have possibly a top 5 draft pick to go along with that. Do you think though that Eberfluss should sort of
prompt him a bit more? Not saying like he should be shadow managing him and whatever, but like sometimes I just feel like he must see something what maybe that defensive coordinator is not seeing. And sometimes I just feel like it might need to just sort of get on him a little bit more.
Well, they've all got those headphones on and they're constantly talking back and forth. I can't remember if Alan Williams is an on-field coach or up in the box.
I think he's on field.
See, I feel like he needs to move up into the box. I know Vic Fangio used to do it historically because up in the box you can see the entire field. You can see where they're trying to attack your defense, and you've got those phones that you can talk to these guys on the field if you have to when they come off the field. Maybe that would help if Williams would move up in the box and give him more of a bird's eye view of the entire field and try and scheme off of that. I really don't. I really have no idea. I think it really just comes down to the talent level. I mean, our best player in our front seven is, as much as I love the jackhammer, he's an undrafted free agent linebacker out of Wisconsin. He's a rookie, which is not always a great thing. If you've got him playing better than anyone else in your front seven.
You're just gonna buy a jersey. That's what's gonna happen there. So you're gonna buy a jersey.
I'm kind of talking myself into it, ain't I? I don't know.
You are.
I'm a linebacker, so I love my linebackers.
He's ticking the boxes off, going, "Yeah, I'm just gonna buy one out." Really, there's no negative reason why I shouldn't get one, apart from he might not be on team.
Yeah. I don't know, but okay. So the Falcons today, man. You got to stop the run. That's what it all comes down to. They drafted a wide receiver in the top 10, and Drake London, who's been okay for him. He hasn't been Julio Jones, fucking Hall of Famer type guy. I feel like if Jalen Johnson's healthy, you want to stick him on him and go from there. I feel like our feel like our defense is it's tough because at the first few games we were just getting gashed through the run game, and then we played the Vikings. We held Dalvin Cook to under 100 yards. We played we had 3 or 4 games there where we were holding they were still running the ball, but they weren't doing it at as high of a rate as they were early in the season, I feel like. So I feel like they're progressing through the season. But I just got to see more out of the D-line, man. That's the biggest.
I tell you what could be quite interesting though, seeing Brisker against that tight end, which I can't remember his name now, Fred Lantner, who's more or less just a big-bodied wide receiver, really. So I'm quite interested to see if he's covering him because, they're both great athletes. And, and I think as well, Lantner been struggling to get pick the ball. So they might be, trying him out against a rookie. But I think that'd be an interesting competition to watch.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts was a great prospect coming out of college. At Florida, he broke records, made Kyle Trask look like an NFL quarterback and all that kind of things. And he's a guy that you can use on the line as tight end, out in the slot as a wide receiver, kind of like a Jimmy Graham back when he was tearing shit up. That type of player. He can really do it all. It'd be a tough assignment for Brisker, but I would like to see them attempt to do that. I think should we just go ahead and get into our predictions, because what I'm about to say is a prediction?
yeah, good. You might as well, mate. You might as well keep on a roll.
So we'll get into can you just bullshit for a second? Let me shoot a message to Tooch, see if he's gonna join us today, because I don't he usually gets in and talks, his betting lines and that kind of stuff. I don't
know. I've got a question actually. A question to the people in chat, and this might come over as being like an English newbie to the sport, but I have been following the sport for over 30 years. Do people think that the pass interference flag should be the spot of the foul like it's at the moment, or do you think it should just be a 15-yard penalty? I personally think it should just be a 15-yard penalty, because I think it's ridiculous that one penalty could take a team like the full length of the field when one player just made a mistake. So anybody in the chat's got any sort of viewpoints on that, I'd be quite interested to know what you guys think.
Well, to me, I like that it's a spot foul, because you see a lot in college football. It's a 15-yard penalty, no matter what happens. So
that's what I like. I think that's what it should be. I think it should be a spot foul, because it's just ridiculous that one foul could cost a team so much. You know what I mean? In yardage, to lose so much yardage. But then you run into this as a defensive guy, and this is the way I look at it. Why I like it being a spot foul. Right, go on.
Say, I don't know, a guy like a Tyreek Hill is just burning you down the field, and you're just like, well, I know he's going to beat me. I don't want to give up this touchdown, so you just freaking blow him up on his route. Now it's only 15 yards instead of what should have been a touchdown. Point, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's interesting. But it's something what I've had at the back of my mind for quite a few weeks, and I've been meaning to bring it up, and I just forgot. So yeah, I can see it from that end, because I always look at it from an offensive sort of side, really, football. So
that's where we're different, man. You're a running back, I'm a linebacker. I'm gonna look at it defensive. If I'm getting my ass kicked by somebody, it's only 15 yards. If I trip his ass, yeah, let's do it. Let's trip his ass.
All right. I see then. If pick any linebacker today which would characterize you when you played linebacker, what would you say you were like?
That's tough, but like I said, I wasn't good in coverage. They blitzed me quite a bit, so I was more like, I wouldn't say I'm not to the level of Khalil Mack or anything like that, but that's the kind of game I played. I had at least 2 sacks in every game that I played. So not Robert Quinn numbers from last year, but I did okay off the edge.
Yeah,
and I had a pretty good spin move. But speaking of spin moves and building your draft stock, let's bring in my man Johnny Santucci, the Tooch. What's good, brother?
All right. I'll tell you,
Hey,
I've been
Pooch.
listening to you. Hey, Chris and AC. I tell
Oh,
Oh yeah,
you muted yourself.
Sorry, been listening to the show. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank
it's been fun.
Yeah, I have been getting ready. I'm actually leaving the country on
Wow.
Wednesday. So,
Oh, heading to the
Is
Philippines for
that
Thanksgiving?
yeah, I'll be in the Philippines for like 3 weeks, and then I'll be back doing some stuff. I'll try and phone in from Asia.
wow?
Good luck
Cool,
with
man.
that.
I was
Yeah.
just wondering if that was from your dodgy pornograph video making, but you had to suddenly leave the country.
Right. It's cheaper to film down there, Chris. To be honest. No.
Awesome.
No, my wife is from the Philippines, and
Cool.
she has not been to see her family in like 4 years. Her mom's been
Wow.
sick, so let's get some time there. And I need a break from work and all this other stuff I do. But it happens to come right in the middle of Bears season. I got to tell you, the Bears are the most bet on team today. So I gotta,
All right.
if I'm betting, I got to take the Falcons -2.5 because, as you've seen, the most bet on teams end up losing against the spread. So I don't know what it is. And the Bears, as I said Tuesday, cannot win games if they're playing against the officiating crew as well.
Yes.
And it's been gross, the NFL, but
Well,
I'll
I feel
tell you.
like I would take the Bears. I mean, I don't want to get into my predictions completely yet, but I feel like I would take the Bears. And
you and every other Joe.
The whole week, I really was talking myself into Atlanta winning this ball game. But I was listening to Hogan Johns, and they talked to a writer from The Athletic in the Georgia area. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he said, you look at the four big parts of the game, offenses and defenses. Both defenses are not very good. They'll cancel each other out. So then you look at both offenses. The Bears have scored an average of 30 points for the last month, and the Falcons have been up and down all year. They put up, I think, 15 against Carolina. They did have some big games where they were putting up a decent amount of points. But
the Falcons suck.
Right. So that's what a lot of people, I think, are looking at is if you look
the Bears
at the major
can't
parts
beat
of
the
it.
officials.
That's true. That is true. And
that's the one thing. Look at the past 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We've had questionable, blatant calls. The Bears have had to send tape to the NFL officiating office. And how many times can we keep sending tapes to the office saying, look at this? They don't give a crap.
It should really be something
either they
can
dislike
do
the
about
Bears
that.
organization or what. I don't know. But I think this – you guys said earlier, this is probably the last time the Bears will have a chance to get a win, although you never know what could happen. I mean, I could see Buffalo not taking the Bears seriously and the Bears kind of maybe sneaking one in on them like the Vikings did last week. But the Falcons are probably their best chance of getting a win the rest of the season. And while if they didn't win today or didn't win the rest of the season, like you also said, Will Anderson and Jalen Carter, look mighty fine on this defense. So, I mean, we can't be too disappointed if we lose the rest of the way because we're not going anywhere right now. But we do have a bona fide superstar, and that's the X factor in this game. Now, if the officials are going to try and take another one away from us again, I hate to be this guy because I've never been this guy, but it's been so gross and blatant that I've just been pissed off. Another public team today is the Patriots. I've got the Jets +3.5. I don't like to play. Jets are 5-3 though, and look at where the money is. Give me the Patriots might win the game. Jets might cover that game, but
that entire division is in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It's a tough week for against the spread wagering. I think probably the best play on the board for me would be the Commanders Texans under 41.5. Both these teams have been under almost every week. Now the Commanders 5-0 against the spread the last 5 weeks, and if you want to tell me that Ron Rivera doesn't want to stick it to Lovie Smith, you got another thing coming because I guarantee you he has this game circled on his calendar. He's going to go in there and he's going to punish Lovie as much as he can today. I got the Commanders -3. I don't love the 3.5. I might be tempted to take the Texans just because they're kind of feisty at home. But give me the Commanders -3 today. Also love Brian Robinson over 65 yards rushing. I think, with the Texans allowing 156 yards rushing a game, 65 yards from Robinson, man, that's a walk in the park. Give me that all day. That's one of my top plays today.
Right.
Also, like the Commanders, like the under in that game. Also another, like Andy Dalton, under 214 passing yards today. I think he's got a rough time today. Again, I like the under in that game too, man. I don't think a lot of points be scored in that game. The Rams, Stafford, I don't know if he's going to play. I think he's questionable. If you're seeing John Wolford, give me the Saints -2.5.
Yeah.
But I mean, both teams are banged up. No Cooper Kupp, no Michael Thomas. Jarvis Landry might play. He's still questionable. Neither team has guys really to throw to. Allen Robinson might have a decent game finally for the Rams. But today I'm going to be keeping a close eye on the officials in the Bears game.
Yeah. What's the are they still giving you easy money on the Justin Fields rushing yards?
I'm not going to take it today. It's 71.5 now. So I think on Aldo and Dan's show, I traced the history of the prop I've been betting for the past 5 weeks and making a shit ton of money on.
Right.
It was Justin Fields over 41.5. He had 80, and then the next week it was over 47.5. And I think he had 100, and it was 49.5. Last week it was 61.5. And now it's up to 71.5. So I mean, Justin Fields, like he said his legs feel heavy today. I think they're going to lean on David Montgomery as well. They should, let Montgomery take the punishment, but no Khalil Herbert. That's going to hurt because then you are asking Montgomery and Fields to do a little bit more rushing than Bears coaches and Bears fans would like.
Right. Well, I feel like I would still take the over. I mean, if there's a defense that you could take advantage of, I feel like it's this one in Atlanta. They're just really bad. They've got one defensive lineman that gets penetration often, and that's Jared. They've got one corner, and I think AJ Terrell, who plays really well. But other than
Grady
that,
Jarrett is a load, man.
Yeah.
He's a guy that would look good in a Bears uniform. He's always disruptive. I don't like the matchup between him and Mustafa or whoever's going to be lined up. He's lined up at, but you make a great point, AC. Grady Jarrett is the guy you got to double team.
Yeah. Well, there's a guy that KB brought him up on the show earlier this month, Deron Payne, who's a free agent with Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
That's a guy I would love to see us go after. Maybe that
Commanders
helps
line.
you. Maybe that helps you look somewhere else in the draft. Like a Skoronsky out of Northwestern. He'd be a solid starter on the offensive line.
On the offensive line, yep. But I'll tell you, if it's a high pick, you got to start looking at Will Anderson and Jalen Carter.
Yeah,
because right now I think the Bears are picking 7th if the season were to end today. 7th pick. I don't know what that's going to get you. I haven't really projected. I don't think it'll get you Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. Maybe if there's a lot of teams looking at quarterbacks, but it all depends on which quarterbacks are coming out. Caleb Williams coming out. He's a sophomore. I don't know. I had a pretty fucking good game last night. If you watched the game,
I think. You got 3 of them that's definitely, I feel like, top 10 prospects.
Yeah, even at Stroud
even
and
with,
Young.
Even with Levis having a rough go of it, a lot of people are looking at his body build and the way they feel they can mold him. And maybe you look at if Will Anderson and Jalen Carter are off the board, maybe you look at trade options. Maybe you end up with a King's bounty for one of these quarterbacks, a la the way the Saints always do. They always give away a ton of picks to go get a guy in the first round.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, we don't need a quarterback, AC.
Right. And I'm so excited about that because since Cutler left, I haven't been able to say that. You know what I mean? Even when Trubisky was winning a bunch of games, I know this is sacrilege to Mike North, but we felt like he wasn't the answer. You know what I mean?
Still doesn't like Fields is breaking NFL records, and he still doesn't like Justin Fields. He holds on to the ball. Yeah, fine. This is basically his rookie season. We'll
you
coach
know who
that
else
out of
holds
him, you
on to
know?
the ball a long time? Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers. He holds on
Yeah.
to the ball for a long time.
Yep.
But
That's right. Absolutely. But
I don't,
I don't know how many NFL records Justin Fields got to break before fans start liking him. What, you know?
Mike North's the only one I know that doesn't love the guy. I mean, I'm even telling, like I was telling Chris earlier, well, you know how it is with children. It's hard to get them to buy into a team unless they're exciting to watch. And this is definitely a team that's exciting to watch at this point.
Yeah.
It's kind of how we used to take bathroom breaks and stuff during punts and stuff. But when Devin Hester was a Chicago Bear, you didn't miss that punt just in case something happened. Anytime the offense is on the field, I have my butt in the seat and I am locked in to see what's the next thing Justin Fields is going to do, because he's so good, man. And it's so exciting to watch. I mean, when it takes off for 67-yard runs, 61-yard runs, and he's breaking tackles in the backfield before.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It just, it's like jump out of your seat moments that I used to only get when, Bojack would intercept something or Devin Hester.
Yeah.
You know, you just see the field open up and you're just, oh, there it is. And he's just fast.
I said on Dan and Aldo's show, I haven't been this tingly since Devin Hester was being ridiculous. You know, because Justin Fields we've wanted a breakaway threat running back for a long time. We have one. He just plays quarterback. You know, and that's great. Yeah. Because once he's already starting to figure it out, man, with some of the zone beats against cover 2. You know, you saw him make some plays last week, and I hate to say it, but special teams better not cost us another win here too, because an extra point, that was huge.
Yeah,
last week. Yeah, missing the extra point was huge.
Yeah, and Cairo's been so automatic, man. I was shocked at that. Greg Tierney says take the Justin Fields passing yards over. What's his number set at today?
I'd have to look. I'm going to guess it's probably around 200 yards.
Yeah. But, what were you going to say, Chris? While he looks that up, Chris.
Sorry, I've completely forgotten.
Completely forgotten. I mean, Justin.
Get that for you. In a second.
Like I said, man, Justin Fields is just so exciting to watch. I would like to see Chase Claypool get some play today. He had less snaps last week than he had the week before.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
which was questionable. But I feel like a lot of that had to do with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, you know,
their secondary is pretty good.
This is a great call, man. I'm going to have to load this up.
But their linebackers were not great. So I feel like that's why they used a lot more tight ends, fullbacks, and stuff like that as they were trying to. Which is
guess which team is the worst team in the NFL against the pass? 32nd overall, 280 yards passing per game.
Atlanta Falcons.
The Falcons. Justin Fields over 174.5.
Well, that's not bad.
I'm gonna load that one. I'm gonna load that one up now.
Yeah, that's a good
Throw
call.
Some couch money in there, you know.
Hell yeah, good call. But
not bad.
We've pretty much broken all this down at this point. Tooch, if you'd like to stay with us, we'll do our score predictions, bowl predictions.
We're talking about the defensive backfield, and injuries to defensive backfield has me a little concerned.
Right.
Kendall Vilder's got an ankle. I know he hasn't been the greatest, but we don't have much else. Jalen Johnson has been okay. Crookshank out with the hamstring. That hurts, our dime back. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. I think you'll probably see a little bit more DeAndre Houston Carter back there, and that's not a bad thing. I like his veteran play. Other than that, you still have the offensive line is relatively healthy. Cole Kmet is another one to keep an eye on. He had that thigh injury, which should have been a flag. For pass interference, that would let go. What's his name? Ran right into him while he was running his route.
Yeah.
That's and it was past 5-yard marker, so that should have been a flag also. So many non-calls against the Bears. Whenever you go into a game, watch the offensive line and see how much the Falcons get away with holding. Because I tell you right now, with 86% of the money on the Bears, the referees and Vegas, whatever handshake they have, I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but it sure is pointing towards this kind of crap, especially last week. Bears were one of the top bet teams. Lions won outright. Today, keep an eye on it because the past 3 games, officials have a lot of crucial calls, just blatant. No calls have gone against us.
Yeah, with sports gambling getting so big, that's definitely something that they'll have to watch out for. And I feel like that's something that a lot of politicians.
Mike North talked about it, today on the show. He's like, sooner or later, something's going to come out and say, a scandal will be uncovered where a guy said, bet this on, whatever on me, and I'll get a hamstring at 60 yards where the over unders, 65 or something, for rushing or whatever it is. But I just all the BS calls have favored Vegas, man. I'm telling you, Anthony and I bet the other way, and we've been winning every time. I took the Texans plus 14 versus the Eagles that one night. I didn't want to bet the Texans. I knew they weren't going to lose, and I knew the Eagles had a chance to blow them out. But you know what? The Eagles only won by 11.
Yeah.
So
it's funny how that works. So we'll get ready to close this thing out. We'll talk about give me your score prediction. Yep. Give me a bold prediction if you've got one, offensive and defensive MVP. I'll start with you, Chris, then you, Tooch, and then I'll pick up the scraps, whatever you guys leave me.
Cool, man. I think my score prediction is 28-21 to Chicago. I think it could be even more, but I just think whichever offense scores the most, because I think both defenses are very weak on both sides. So I think it could just be a shootout, really. But I think we just got an edge on them with our offense. So I think really offensive MVP, we're going to go for David Montgomery because Herbert's out. So it'd be like you guys mentioned it earlier on, just be interesting to see how he picks up the slack, really. And it'll also, justify why he should get a contract. So I'd say on offense, on D, I'm probably thinking Briscoe. I just think Briscoe against Pitt could be a really interesting battle to watch, and it'll be a really good test for the rookies. So they're my predictions. Do you want to do shout outs now, AC, or?
Yeah, go ahead and hit some shout outs if you like.
Cool. Shout out is obviously having the chance to spend an hour and a half of my life chatting to you, AC. It's always a gift, you know what I mean? And I've completely enjoyed today's show. It's been awesome. Always great to get a chance to talk to the Tooch. And have a lovely holiday, mate. A bit of winter sunshine is never a bad thing. So take care. Your family have a great time as well.
Thank you.
Other shout out is everybody in the chat. You make me sure. You know who you are. And finally, let's just hopefully just get that win for Justin Fields, man. The guys earn it so much. They do so much for him as well. So hopefully we'll get a Bears win.
Oh, yeah. All right, go ahead, Tooch.
All right. I'm going to go 33-30 Falcons. And just because of the trends, man. I'll be rooting for my Bears. I actually put a bet in Bears +3. I don't like it, but it was before I saw all the money, 86% on the Bears. So I just think somehow we'll either get some kind of bad call or non-call or something like that, and you'll see the Bears end up losing by 3. And then shout out to you guys for a great show and carrying it on without all personnel there. I'm sorry I couldn't be here earlier. Catch me after the show on Fantasy Football Goon with Joe and Adam. We'll be breaking down some fantasy stuff, prop bets, and daily fantasy picks. And then Tuesday I'll be on the Dan and Aldo show for the last time until I get back. Probably, I think I'm out until I'm out until after the bye, guys. So I might as well go on the DL.
An IR. You're on the IR.
I'm on short-term IR.
All right. Man, I have been back and forth with this game all week. I'm not sure which side to pick on. Like you said, Tooch, both these defenses, they give up points.
Yeah.
So take the over. I don't care what the number is. Take the over.
Yeah.
These defenses are going to give up points. I think Bears win, though. I really do. I feel like Justin Fields, homecoming in Georgia on the turf, where he already says he feels faster on the turf. I mean, I don't know how much faster you got to be, man. Give me Bears 38, Falcons 31. So Bears 38, Falcons 31. My offensive MVP is going to be Justin Fields. I feel like he's going to go over on his rushing yards and over on his passing yards. He's going to make a lot of Atlanta Falcons fans upset that they drafted Kyle Pitts over Justin Fields. My defensive MVP, give me the jackhammer, man. I've talked myself into this guy, Jack Sanborn. He's going to have 15 tackles today. He's going to have a fumble recovery and a sack. So he'll be my defensive MVP. Bears win the ball game down in Atlanta, and that'll be it. The Bears will get back on track. My bold prediction, I guess, would be actually my bold prediction is going to be Eddie Jackson gets back on track with an interception today. I think Marcus Mariota is going to hang one up there for his guy Drake London, and Bojack's going to do 2018 Bojack stuff and go up there and grab that thing. So, yeah, that'll be my bold prediction is that Eddie Jackson gets an interception today against Marcus Mariota. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to you, Tooch, coming on here, helping us put a little bit of money in our pockets if we listen to your things. Tooch, if you guys don't know, does a sports betting show every Saturday. You guys can hop in there and pick up on some of his tips, maybe get early reads on lines and stuff.
Yeah, it's been Friday nights, I think, because of Anthony's schedule. So I've been doing Friday nights, which is probably better. You know, people are coming off work and stuff. They can look at games and stuff.
It's easier to hit those college games on a Friday night.
Right.
I just know I get the notification on my phone when you guys go live. I haven't. I couldn't remember. I thought it was Saturday mornings. I apologize. Definitely stick around for Tooch and Goon and Adam to help you set your fantasy lineups. They'll give you all the up-to-date information about who's in, who's out, who you should start. Like I've got Brian Robinson starting in one of my lineups because I believe, just like you, Tooch, he's going to have a big game. I've actually got him started over some guys who are projected to have higher scores than him just because I believe in Brian Robinson in that game with that matchup. What else was I going to say? Come in at halftime. Aldo will be on with, assuming John Buffon, and they'll talk about the first half of the game, and then join us again for Bear football after the game. They'll talk about all the good stuff. They'll run your press conferences for you. You can hop in here and find out what Justin says after the game, what Eberflus says after the game, and all the ins and outs of the Chicago Bears, what to look forward to. If you guys don't mind, well, I guess I can't really plug it here. I do a podcast every Wednesday with my guy Corey. It's called the 12-Ounce Curl Route Podcast. It's on the Mental Dimes YouTube page. Unfortunately, it is at the exact same time as Buffon 55, so I don't hold it against you if you guys want to follow that on there and catch mine on replay on Spotify or however you do it. But I would appreciate an audience because right now we're not really getting it. I don't really have – it's just really just me and him talking back and forth at this point, which is fine, but, you know, it's always more fun when the chat's there. Speaking of the chat, shout out to all you guys coming in here every week and giving us your ups and downs and your comments and concerns for our Chicago Bears. It's always more fun with you guys here with us. Definitely. So shout out to you guys in the chat. And with that being said, man, I mean, unless there's anything else pressing, we'll just end this thing with a fat ass
Bear
Bear
down.
down, mate.